Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video on all about Meps, what to expect, tips, tricks, what actually happens, and things to avoid, stuff like that. I'm just going to talk about my experience, what happened, and all of that. So the first thing, I made a list. So the first thing I want to talk about is the hotel. So depending on your recruiter and depending on your state, I believe, it all depends. You either drive yourself or you have a driver drive you. So for me, I had a driver drive me. So you go to the hotel, and hotels that are like partnered with the military will have this like room where there's TVs, there's computers, and there's usually about 2 to 3 people who work a desk at the hotel. Now, those people are the people who give you the wake-up call to wake up in the morning to eat breakfast. They give you your room key. They give you your breakfast card or whatever. Make sure you know who those people are. So, because, let's say, you lose your room key, you need them, or you have questions, and they're there to help you. So just keep that in mind. I was lucky. There was an odd number of girls. There were 7 girls the day that I went down to Meps, and you spend the night when you do the physical. So I got there around 5 or 6, and the next morning was when I would do my physical. So it was about 7 girls, so I, luckily, got a room all to myself, which was cool. You know, I got to chill and, like, think, which this brings me to my next part. Anxiety. A lot of people would freak out the night before, not get any sleep, things like that. So if you can figure out a way or bring stuff with you to the hotel that you know calms you down. So like if there's a book you like to read, bring your book. Or if there's certain things you like to do to calm you down, do it. Because I didn't go to bed till 3 in the morning, and I had to get up at 4:45 because that's what the wake-up call was, for us at least. And so you get to Meps, and it's a lot of waiting. It's like a waiting game. The whole day you're just waiting. So you get there, and the first thing that we did was we went into a room with like 50 people at once. Maybe 30? 30. Like 30 people at once. And the first thing they're going to do is check your blood pressure. And me, I get freaked out in situations like that, but the Air Force is something that I knew I really wanted to do, and it was something I'm very passionate about. So when the nurse was coming around checking everybody's blood pressure, because if your blood pressure was too high and they could tell you're freaking out, you have to wait in that room until your heart rate goes down. And if it doesn't go down, they send you home. They send a couple people home because they couldn't chill out, or they had high blood pressure and they never documented it. So for me, I remember just deep breaths in and out, deep breaths in and out. And took my blood pressure, I was fine. Then you go to a desk and they give you paperwork. Whatever paperwork your recruiter has on you, as in your medical forms and things like that, you will pick it up at the desk. This could be different for other places, but this is how it was for 2018 in the Miami Meps. So they gave me my paperwork, and it's also like a checklist. So each doctor you see or each thing you do, they check off. Either you pass or you fail. Then after you get paperwork, it all depends. You could do this in a completely different order, but I did eyes first. And this is where my first tip comes in. If you wear glasses, I wear contacts. I have glasses, but I prefer contacts. If you have contacts, ask to do the depth pervision test with your contacts still in. Because for me, I did an eyesight test with my contacts and then without my contacts, and then I did the depth test without my contacts. So I feel like I kind of was set up to fail. And a lot of people freak out about eyesight, and honestly, I failed the complete eyesight. Honestly, the doctor wrote down that the most I could do is finger count. So that means like without glasses, I could do fingers, like that's it. And that's all I could do in one eye. The other eye was a little bit better. And I failed the depth test. A lot of jobs in the military you don't need it for, so don't freak out if you fail it. I don't know the specific jobs that you do need it, but for my job, I didn't. So then after eyes, you just do a basic eye test. And then I went to the hearing station. Now, this is another thing that I heard. When I was researching it and, like, watching videos on, like, Meps experiences, they're like, if you don't hear anything, click the button. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. Because I did it, and I got in trouble. I mean, I didn't get, like, in trouble. It was just, like, and the noises are 3 seconds apart, because I counted it. I was like, 1, 2, 3. And then I heard it, and I would click. But, don't do it, because they kind of do this new thing where they completely stop the beeps randomly. So, like, if you're clicking it, they know you're not. And I remember you have a headset on, and the nurse that was watching us was like, Kato, stop. And I was like, okay, she caught me. Oh, man, she caught me. Then I did a pee test. You do pee in front of somebody, but this is another thing that was also, like, blown out of proportion. It wasn't that big of a deal. I couldn't pee, though. So I had to drink a lot of water, and it sucked. And I was always going back and forth to the water fountain. Then you go in there, and you need to listen to what they say, because they're mean. They're not nice. They don't care about you. They really don't. They're not your friends. Like, they don't care where you came from, what you're enlisting for, any of that. And the lady gave me a cup, and it was sealed. She goes, don't open it. I said, okay, don't open it. Then she goes, stand in front of the toilet, like as if you're about to sit down. And I said, okay. So I stood in front of the toilet, and then she goes, place the cup on the floor, and there was an X on the floor. She goes, place it on the X. I said, okay. And then I went to, like, pull my pants down, like, to pee, because she said, you're about to pee or whatever. She goes, I didn't say to pull your pants down. I was like, sorry. She goes, pull your pants down, not your underwear. I said, okay. I thought she was going to make me pee through my underwear, not going to lie. And then she goes, okay, now you can pull down your underwear. Now, what they do this for is they have to make sure that you don't have, like, a weird sack full of fake pee, because people do that, I guess. I don't know. So listen to what they say. Don't pull down your underwear without them telling you pull down your underwear, because you'll get in trouble. Then I peed, and then I went to put the lid on. She goes, I didn't say to put the lid on. I was like, okay, so don't put the lid on either. And then they immediately do the drug test. I remember I handed another nurse my cup of pee, and she stuck a bunch of paper things in it that are supposed to use anything, and then she did a pregnancy test. All females have to take a pregnancy test. If you're pregnant, you can't enlist. And if you don't know if you're not pregnant or not, you might want to take a pregnancy test before you go, because that'd be kind of awkward. And she went, well, you're not pregnant. And I said, okay, great. And then the next thing for me was I took blood, and the nurse who did my blood had me freaking out. She was like, I've done this like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, I literally thought she was going to pop my vein, because she told me she had really never done it before. So I was freaking out. And then she took my arm. She drew blood. They don't draw a lot of blood. Like, you know, like one of the tubes. Just like one little tube. That's all she did. One little tube. Just enough so that they can, like, test your blood and all of that. And then after that, I did my physical. And if you're a female, you do get a downstairs examination, but it's not a pap smear. If you don't know what a pap smear is, it's really like take a chunk of your skin and, like, test it. They don't do that, okay? They don't do that. So I had to get completely naked. And she did a breast examination, so she felt around, and then she also felt around my armpits. She looks at all my tattoos. You have to make sure all the tattoos you have and all the scars and piercings you have, you write down, because it will ruin you if you don't. So I put down all 5 of my tattoos. Put down all 5 of my tattoos. I have 2 piercings. I put down my piercings, and I have a scar on my leg, on my knee, and it's pretty big. It's a noticeable scar. If you have a noticeable scar, write down you have it, and write down what it's from, because they'll question you. So then I'm still completely naked. She puts my legs in some stirrup things, and she goes, she just looked, pretty much. And then she makes sure you're not barefoot. You're not barefoot. She makes sure you're not flat-footed, which I am. And I finessed it because I kind of, like, flexed my foot while I was standing so that I had an arch. But it's okay. Then she makes you bend over, check your spine, all that. And then you do the duck walk, things like that. Duck walk, the girl who I was with failed. They're not very forgiving about it. Like, if you fall and you fail. So the duck walk is something that is actually really big. A lot of job fields require you to be able, that's my cat. A lot of job fields require you to be able to do the duck walk. So for me, I'm pretty flexible, so I was able to do it. I did it wrong the first time, and then they corrected me, so it's cool. But I passed, and then if you pass everything, you're good, and you pass. So then at the end, you do an interview, too. You go to a doctor, and they pretty much ask you, have you ever smoked marijuana? I'm like, no. Have you ever drank? No. And like, they just ask a bunch of questions. Say no. Just say no to everything. If they ask you if you're crazy, be like, no. And then for the Air Force, I think this is the only branch that does this, but for the Air Force, if you're listening in the Air Force, they make you read something. So they gave me like a paper and it's laminated and it's like a story, and then you have to read it to the doctor. What this does is the doctor makes sure that you have no speech problems and that you're able to successfully like communicate. And for my job field, I had to pass it because for my job field, I'll be on walkie-talkies. I have to be able to clearly pronounce what I'm trying to say. So I passed that too. And then at the end of the day, remember how I told you there were 7 girls? 5 were sent home. So there's 2 girls at the end of the day. I'm just trying to put numbers in your head. Like, it's not a game. Like, they're scary. You need to stick to your stories, and you need to just be focused and don't mess around. So then you finish, and then you go downstairs to your liaison. A liaison, I honestly don't even know what the technical term is. It's pretty much just like the person who enlists you, pretty much. Yeah, I guess. Cool. So I went downstairs, and I went to my liaison, and after that, so when you take your ASVAB, depending on your score, you're qualified for a certain amount of jobs. After the physical, depending on what you pass and don't pass, you get disqualified from a few of the jobs. So in the beginning, I was qualified for, I think, like 35 jobs. And after my physical, I was qualified for 15. And my eyesight had a lot to do with it. And I don't remember what else. Some other things. Oh, the other things were like you had to like college for, and I didn't have college. So, I knew what I wanted. So she makes you do a list from like 1 to whatever you want to put. You can put as many jobs down as you want. So for me, pick security forces, I think firefighting, and like a few other jobs. And then you have to either pick an aptitude general area or a general aptitude area. This is for the Air Force. I can only really speak on the Air Force, not in another branch. And so I picked general aptitude area, I think. I don't know. Pretty much what that means, like kind of like an open contract where you don't know what your job is until you get to basic training. So I went to Meps in July or June, one of those 2 months, and I just signed a job now in October. So I wanted security forces as first, and I was enlisted into the DEP program. So the delayed entry program is pretty much where you're just like waiting to sign and leave. It's pretty much just like what they call the waiting period. If you're in the waiting period, you're in the DEP program. So yeah, and then I was assigned a job, my recruiter, because once a month, if you're in the DEP program, you have meetings once a month. And I went to my recruiter, and he was like, hey, did I tell you? And I was like, tell me what? He was like, you got a job. And I was like, cool. He goes, security forces. I was like, cool. So I leave December 10th, and my first day of boot camp is December 11th, and I am supposed to be graduating February 1st. So that's how Meps goes. It's not a game. They're not your friends. They don't care about you at all. So go in there, know what you got to do it. And also, what to wear. Don't wear a full tux. If you really want to, you can, but like it's not that serious. I wore just like a nice dress shirt, like a blouse, and I wore like a nice dark wash pair of jeans with no rips or anything, and then I wore closed-toed shoes because you have to wear closed-toed shoes. And underwear. If you were a girl, I saw this on some other people's videos for Meps that you can wear thongs and cheeky. No, you can't. You have to wear full cover granny panties. I don't know why, but you do. And so, yeah. Because another girl I was with, she was wearing cheeky, and they yelled at her. And they were like, you need to wear these. And they gave her a pair of, like, granny panties. So, don't wear a thong or cheeky. Wear granny panties. Even if you don't own a pair, go get a pair of granny panties. So that's what I did. And I think that's all I have to say. And if you are enlisting, good luck. I wish you the best. And thank you for watching.